here on Channel 35. They're closed captioned. They're also simulcast in Spanish. Would those features be maintained in the archived versions, for example, of council meetings?
The closed captioning is available on the archived version. The Spanish simulcasting is not at this time. We're exploring that in the future. It's a little more complicated.
You mentioned archived availability. Can these also be podcast, for example, and downloaded?
Yes, there's actually a piece on the webpage itself that indicates if you want a podcast, you can do that, and you can click on it and download it, similar to the way this is, but you can actually click on the feature and download it to your iPod through any internet source, and basically you've got the audio of the meeting on your iPod, and you can listen to it if you're walking through the park or picking up your kids at school or anything, and that's a really nice feature as well.
Back to the streaming on demand. Do you require any particular piece of equipment or any software programs or anything like that?
The minimum requirement is Windows Media 9, actually, and that's all that's required.
Listening to this, I'm just fascinated. I assume that this is really the cutting edge of this technology. Any other major cities around the country, maybe around the world, that have this kind of public access?
The ones we know of, there's the vendor that we've used is Granicus Incorporated, and they've actually done this for a number of cities, like I mentioned. Around the world, I'm not so sure. I'm sure I checked the website. They've got a whole lot of places that they're doing this with: San Luis Obispo County, Sacramento County, San Francisco. But it's definitely the wave of the future.
And I guess it's actually here now, at least as you mentioned earlier in the program, for some limited meetings and events already.
Yes, it is. We're obviously using it for budget and finance, and for the Harbor Department, as I mentioned, is doing it. Other departments are as well interested in exploring this, although no formal relationship's been set up at this time. One of the things that we've discussed with Channel 35, and I know that they're working on this to implement as well, is the broadcasting of the technology, using the technology for other commission meetings, city commission meetings, many of the Channel 35 programming, the Inside LAPD, any number of the programs that they have can be basically put into the system and put on anyone's, put into the system, archived. And basically what's really nice about this is because Channel 35, if you watch it on your television, is only really available to the city subscribers. However, now it's available all over because you can get it from your computer. So you would be able to watch Channel 35 programming from your computer, anything, not just city council meetings. So that's the wave of the future with the city. That's really interesting because people in Narvik, Norway could be watching our council meetings. Exactly. This is obviously a very major undertaking and is clearly going to be quite labor intensive. Do you happen to know how this is being paid for, if it's requiring extra staff? Who pays for it? There's a contract with the vendor initially, and then a lot of it is being absorbed by and worked on by the IT, Information Technology Agency staff, the city clerk's system staff, and my staff in Council of Public Services. So it's pretty much, it's budgeted, it's a budgeted item, it's been handled and taken care of, and we think that we can use it to expand into actually a similar project that we're looking at, along with Council Audio, to do audio on demand for city council committee meetings. We're not quite ready to do televising at every one of the council committee meetings, but at least if we can do audio on demand, folks can actually pick up the archives of a council meeting, the audio portion, on the internet as well, instead of having to come downtown again and get a cassette tape of a meeting. So that's also something we're exploring with the existing funds. Boy, the possibilities this opens up. First of all, anybody can go to a library if they don't have a computer or broadband at home anywhere in the world and watch this. Plus, who knows, interactive video possibly on the horizon so people can participate from remote locations? Absolutely, remote meetings. I mean, it opens up a whole world, I think, of government communication, and I think that's what certainly the mayor and the council and the city is interested in pursuing. And of course, Channel 35 is thrilled to be part of this with you. If our viewers wanted more detailed information about this new video on demand, who would they call? Where do they go? How do they find out about it? Basically, they can go to the city's webpage, www.lacity.org, and there's the direct link is there to the live and on-demand council video streaming. And on there is some information if you need help, if you're having some confusion with using it. If folks want to talk to someone, a live person, they can certainly call my staff at the City Clerk's Office, Council and Public Services, at 213-978-1133, and they'll be happy to try to guide them through it. But if it becomes too technical, we may have to refer them, to a more technical person. But for now, we're more than willing to help folks.
Well, welcome to the 21st century. Claudia Dunn from the City Clerk's Office. Thanks for coming in on Council Week in Review.
Thank you so much, Jack.
Watch Council Week in Review for highlights of the week's council meetings and listen for the item numbers associated with those discussions you have an interest in, and then visit the World Wide Web. Listen to them in their entirety using the new Video on Demand. Just go to the city's website at lacity.org and follow the instructions on the screen. LA City View is the government access cable channel for the City of Los Angeles, featuring live coverage of city council meetings and programming about city department services and events. Now, if you have suggestions or comments about any of the programs you see here on Channel 35, or would like to receive a free viewer guide, call our viewer hotline at 213-473-3978. And remember, you can watch all Los Angeles City Council meetings live in their entirety on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays beginning at 10 a.m. On Sundays, you can watch the replay of all the week's meetings, also beginning at 10 a.m. Well, that concludes our program for the week ending May 11th, 2007. On behalf of Jerry Mendez and everyone here at Channel 35, I'm Jack Popejoy. Thank you for watching, and please join us for the next Council Week in Review.
The City of Los Angeles. When duty calls, the LAPD responds.
911 emergency. How old is your daughter?
She's 4 years old. Her name's Janelle.
I lost my puppy. Can you help me?
We have a critical missing. There is an Amber Alert, so let's look for any information you get. Pass that into the watch commander. Let's be careful out there.
To fight crime and to keep our streets safe.
I'd be going nuts if this was my daughter.
Push units at 7855, 7855, 211 Missouri, Olympic and Ardmore, Olympic and Ardmore, the Child Market. Suspect found 558 West and Side 5 off towards Olympic. Property taking use currency. Code 3.
7855 Roger.
Volume 7855 is in quick pursuit of a 211 suspect southbound near the house is requesting backup. Any area not kept out of militia frequency.
7965 we're still
To protect and to serve.
All units, code 4, 11th and Catalina, suspect in custody.
Standing with our community.
Los Angeles Police Department this morning issued an Amber Alert. The suspect is driving a black Honda Civic.
Working as a team.
Hey, what's up?
I think I saw that car that you were looking for. Can you show us? Yeah, let's go.
They take pride in what they do.
K910, code 6 on the
And when duty calls, the LAPD responds.
Positive on the vehicle.
Roger. Last like 2, we have positive on the Amber Alert vehicle.
It looks like they found the car.
The LAPD is hiring. Become a part of the team. Visit us at joinlapd.com.
Hey, buddy, what's shaking? We're not prepared for an earthquake. I love the rain, but we're not prepared for a flood. Sure, in the movies, this is all pretend, but in real life, you gotta be prepared for any type of an emergency. You can't predict, but you can prepare. Yeah. How'd you know? The ball called Be Prepared at LAFD.org.
LA City View Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
Good morning, Los Angeles, and welcome to the City Council meeting for Friday, May 18th, 2007. We are here in the John Ferraro Council Chambers, which is room 340 of City Hall, and we invite members of the public here to join us each Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m., save for the first Friday of each month in which we meet at Van Nuys City Hall. Otherwise, we're here in downtown, and we invite members of the public to join us live, and we welcome our viewers on Channel 35, where we are broadcast live each council meeting and rebroadcast in the evening. If you're not close to a television but are by a computer, you can also take advantage of our live webcasts of our council meetings at lacity.org, our city's homepage, where there's also a wealth of information about your city services, your elected officials, and other information to improve the quality of your life here in Los Angeles. Finally, if you're not close to either a television or a computer, you can always use your telephone to listen to the proceedings of our city council meetings through a service we call Council Phone. That number is 213-621-CITY, in which you can dial through and listen to the proceedings of our council meetings or any of our committee meetings as well. Our our council meetings follow agendas that are available online as well at lacity.org, at our city clerk's office, or here in council chambers, and we post those on the side here. The agendas are split into a number of different items, but each item that is a business piece will either receive a hearing in committee or in the full council. So we are here in council today, and if you have not had a hearing in committee, you can fill out a card and speak on any of those items. And there's also a time for general public comment, in which folks can give general public comments on items that are not on the agenda, but are nevertheless under our jurisdiction. I want to thank the council members who are here pursuant to council rules on time. Council members Alarcon, Cardenas, Hahn, Labange, Perry, Smith, Wesson, and Zine. We have Mr. Weezar excused today. Otherwise, we're expecting a full complement, though Mr. Weiss, Mr. Rosendahl, and Ms. Gruhl will be arriving a little bit late. So with that, we'd like to ask Mr. Reyes to join us and Mr. Parks to join us. And in the meantime, to begin our presentations, which we do each Friday to celebrate members of the community and notables in the Los Angeles city family and beyond, I'd like to recognize the great council member from the 4th District, Tom Labange, for our first presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and good morning. Let's give ourselves a big hand for this Friday morning in Los Angeles right now. Just to break it right here. And I want these great young people from Chateau to do a 360 so everybody can see your faces in this great audience of the John Ferraro Chambers. These are the champions from Chateau Recreation Center in basketball, and I wanted to also recognize them at Chateau for their work, and their coaches here. We're going to have them all get certificates, but to recognize, come a little closer, fellas, to recognize the importance of our Department of Recreation and Parks and our programs that we have for after schools. You know, we talk a lot about the challenges that we have with young people and some of the unfavorable activity of gangs, if you could call it that. But I believe our solution will be with our police department and our coaches. Let's give our coaches a big hand. Jaime Rabin is the coach of these great Chateau Park players. And Coach, tell us a little about your season and how special it was and why you did such a great job to inspire these young people to success. Jaime.
Thank you. Good morning. Well, we had a wonderful season. We worked with these guys for the last couple of months. We had a good all-star run. One of the things that was really inspiring about these kids is that they had played with tremendous amount of heart. We got a special group of individuals, but the other individual that helped me out was my coach, my assistant coach, Tom Rojas. So if you guys can help me out, give Tom Rojas a hand.
Tom, we're going to hand you a certificate as the assistant coach. And all this I want to let you know, and I'm going to move out of the way. I hope you can hear me, but this is the Junior Clipper program. The Los Angeles Clippers are extremely involved with our Department of Recreation and Parks and helping inspire young boys and girls in the sport of basketball. So if I could have a roll call and salute Coach Rojas for your work. Good job right there. You got him? Okay, good job. Andrew Urbini. Arbina, Andrew. I'll take 2 laps. Good job. Okay, good. Help me, Coach. Next one is Chipper Rojas. Chipper Rojas. Remember that name in the future. Chipper Rojas. Good job, Chipper. Joseph Ruiz. Joseph, good job. The big man in the middle there. Good job, Joseph. Eddie Crum. This is a great. I think this is like a Hollywood basketball team. You got great names, every one of you guys.
Chris Flores.
Chris Flores. Good job, Chris. Good job. I like that. Good job. What grade are you in? What school?
Eastmont.
Good job. Cypress Marino. Good job. Okay. Brandon Hilliard. Did I say the right name, Brandon? Good job, Brandon. Good job. And finally, Coach, for you, we congratulate you. It takes coaches to make a difference. So for those in the sound of our voices here this morning, we salute this great championship team for the division at Chateau, which is located at 4th and Vermont, just east of Vermont there. A great park, but it takes dedicated volunteers like you and Coach Rojas to make a difference in these young men's lives, because you are champions. Thank you very much, Mr. President. You give them a great hand there. We're going to go in the back room here. You got everything? Come on up here. You guys got great names. Don't they got your name?
Thank you very much, Mr. Labange. We appreciate that, and congratulations again to the Chateau team. And next we will be recognizing for 2 presentations. In the second one I will be joining him, Councilmember Dennis Zine from the 3rd Council District.
I'm just taking a picture. Thank you.
There's the future right here. Good job.
Please again welcome Dennis Zine from the 3rd Council District.
I like that description. Thank you, Mr. President. It's a pleasure once again to be here. The first presentation is for the 2006 Civilian Career Service Award ceremony for our wonderful civilian employees of the City of Los Angeles. And Phyllis Lyons will please come up and join me. She is the representative who's going to be here today from the Personnel Department. And I know your title, Phyllis. Assistant General Manager. I knew it was Assistant General Manager. Come on up here. We have different categories. Today, we are going to award a number of certificates, resolutions to these fine employees of the City of Los Angeles. We're honoring 11 individual city employees and 1 group for their exemplary service to the City of Los Angeles. And the first group demonstrated outstanding work, contribution, and dedication to duty. Individuals being recognized, demonstration of outstanding work, contribution, dedication to duty. As I call your name forward, please come forward along with any family members that are with you. The first one is Mark Butler, Construction and Maintenance Supervisor. Mark brought his cheering section with him this morning. Thank you. Construction and Maintenance Supervisor, Fuel Services, Environmental Compliance, Department of General Services. If anyone deserves a pay raise, Mark, for what you did, you deserve a pay raise. Mark Butler is responsible for managing the Department of General Services alternative fuel infrastructure projects, which involve the construction of liquefied and compressed natural gas fueling stations and safety upgrades. Because of his technical expertise, know-how, and dedication to duty, he has saved the city over $1 million in design and construction efficiencies. I'll say that again, over $1 million. Let's hear it for Mark. The city boasts of having the largest municipal-owned medium and heavy-duty alternative fuel fleet, in no small part due to Mark's efforts in fueling and maintenance structure. And we know everyone's paying $3 and some cents for gasoline. You're saving the taxpayers money because of what you've done. Congratulations to you. photograph. We'll spin that around here. Phyllis, get in here. And then we'll do photos afterwards also. Wait, take off the glasses and look scholarly. Our next presentation. Oh yeah, I want the family to come up. When we do the presentation, I'd like the family to come up and join us. So we're going to take the family in the back when we do the photos in the back. Okay, we're going to do. Well, here, who do you want to introduce? Who do we have here from the family?
My daughter-in-law, son-in-law.
The whole family is here. We want to introduce them.
My wife, my
You go to work every day, they wonder what the heck you do to save the city millions of dollars. So, Mark, joining us today, give me the names. Who's with us?
Well, we have my grandson.
Here, we have microphone.
My grandson Colt, my wife Maddie, my son-in-law Capon, daughter-in-law Heather, my best friend Steve Roberts, and his wife Joanna Roberts.
Thank you for all being here. We're going to do photos in the back with the family members. So thank you for being here. So we're going to be moving the back in a few minutes.
Wait.
And you wonder what happens when he goes to work? He saves the city millions of dollars. That's what he does. Okay, the next one up is David Diliberto, Director of Field Operations, Field Enforcement Operations, Animal Services, Department of Animal Services. David. Where's David? And family members, come on and join us, please. This thing is in the way. Are you still with the city?
Yes, I am.
You weathered the storm, I'll tell you that. And David has definitely weathered the storm. And he's joining us with his family this morning. Dedication to duty was tested in the face of protests by animal rights and smear campaigns. He persevered and became an example of steadfast and professionalism to co-workers and the public in times of organizational stress. At the same time, he worked on improving the quality of animal care in Los Angeles, resulting in steadfast reduction in the number of euthanized animals from 2001 to the present time. And I personally know about the issues that David had to endure as a city employee, and they were really outrageous. So to you and your family, we appreciate the dedication to the public for all you do to protect the animals in the city of Los Angeles. David Diliberto, congratulations. Ladies, don't be shy, don't be shy. And joining David today is?
This is my wife.
Here, microphone.
My wife Karen, my daughters Natalia and Caitlin, and my sons Dominic and Patrick. And I really do dedicate this award to them because they're the ones that have had to go through all this just as much as I have.
Thank you. Thank you for the family. We'll do photos in the back. David.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zine.
I'm still going. I'm not done yet.
Go ahead.
Well, sounds like you're going to cut me off, Madam President. We have another group. 6 minutes. Well, there's 11 awards, Mr. Wesson. We don't want to rush these awards. These people saved the city a lot of money, went through a lot of stress. The next group, we have Wilfred Gaviada, Senior Lead Gardener, Robert Johnson, Senior Gardener, and Steve Ramos, Senior Park Assistant 2, Palisades Maintenance, Pacific Region, Department of Recreation and Parks. Wilfredo, Robert, and Steve. Family members with you?
My daughter.
Okay, come on up. Come on up, honey. You got to cut school, right? Now you get to be on television. You cut school and you're on television. That's 2, okay? So now everybody's going to know why you cut school, because Daddy's getting recognized. Here we go. These 3 individuals share a common thread of living through an incident and being steadfast in their duty to the city and the residents of Los Angeles. The incident I'm talking about occurred at the Venice Beach Pier, when the restroom facility separated from the pier and fell into the ocean. Because of their selfish actions, from securing the facility to evacuating people, no one was injured. And the 4th individual, Mr. Gonzalez, is not present today. So you folks saw something going in the ocean and decided we got to do something to save the people from falling in. That was quite a frightening sight. Let's hear it for our members. That's not part of your job classification, but it is saving people.
Thank you.
We're going to do photo. Then we're going to do photos in the back, too. Come on in. Bring the kids up. Everybody's cutting school today, huh?
They're happy for it.
They're happy for it. All right, we all in? Okay, thank you. In the back, then we'll do some more photos in the back. Thank you all, and congratulations. Our next group, Robert Jensen, former Executive Officer, Department of Recs and Parks. Former. Robert, I didn't know you left.
I retired.
You retired. Robert Jensen recently retired from the City of Los Angeles after enjoying a distinguished 30-year career that spanned 6 city departments. Legacy is far-felt and wide, both within the city's professional workforce and with many of the city employees' bargaining units. As the Executive Officer of Recs and Parks, he was instrumental in establishing the department's strategic vision and redefining its basic purpose. He used the same successful approach that he used when he spearheaded the procurement re-engineering project that resulted in savings the city in excess of $200 million. $200 million. And I thought Robert was good for $1 million. Bob has set a gold standard for public service, and for this, he is being honored today. Robert Jensen, former executive director, who is now retired from the City of Los Angeles. And we'll see you in the back, too. Our next recipient, Paul S. Johnson, Assistant Director, Environmental Division, Harbor Department.
Thank you so much.
Paul was given the challenge of leading the development of the port's air quality program, a daunting task. And he took it on as a project manager. As a result of exemplary work contributions, the port completed its historic San Pedro Bay Clean Air Action Plan of reducing port pollution by 45% in 5 years and implemented the first ever Pacific Ports Clean Air Collaborative Conference, which was a worldwide conference, I understand. These projects have set the standard for all of the ports to follow worldwide. Paul, thank you, and the people of San Pedro, I'm sure, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you very much.
And joining us today with your family?
This is my wife, Katie, and my mother and father, Ed and Ruby Johansson.
See, everyone told you he turned out to be a good boy, and he did. Congratulations. Thank you. And we'll see you on the back for photos. Our next recipient, Principal Librarian, Central Library Services, Library Department, Helene. How do you pronounce that? Metchalover. I love that name. Metchalover. That's a beautiful name. Metchalover. Helene devoted her entire career to building the library's extraordinary collection of books, materials, and special collections in the field of literature and fiction. In the process, she has become the subject specialist in the highly prized and unique collection of the library on the city's film, theater, and television industries. Further, she is responsible for the publication, revision, and update of the library's Play Index. Through her efforts in these endeavors, she has immensely contributed to the betterment of the Los Angeles Public Library System.
Thank you.
Thank you. And joining with us today?
Thank you. Yes. My very good friends. There are a lot of people here from the library. If they all came up, because we have 2 winners, it would take forever. But I'd like to introduce Andrew Johnson.
Go ahead and say the microphone.
Hello, and congratulations, Helene.
Thank you. Annette and Abe Berman.
Annette and Abe Berman.
Yes. Congratulations.
Congratulations. How about the director? Come on up here. The director of libraries, general manager of libraries. How are you?
Fontaine, you
Fontaine,
know.
yes.
And Gloria Grover.
The whole neighborhood's here.
The whole Tom Harron, Sheila Nash, and Roy Stone.
Roy, how are you?
Roy, you know. John Crampner, who's one of our good patrons and authors. And Pamela Kwan came on her day off.
Very nice.
Come to the presentation.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you.
And thank everybody else who's in the party.
Photo? We'll turn around for a photo, and then we'll do photos again in the back.
Thank you.
Everybody, no, right here. Photos first.
Photos.
Then we'll do more photos in the back. Here we go. Here, bring this up. Helene, bring that up. Okay, here we go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Helene. Metro Lover. I love that name. The Lover part is really neat. I like that.
Moshe Lover.
Yeah. Moshe Lover, yes. Mildred Owens, Senior Management Analyst 2.
That's engineering.
We have another one who didn't get to go to school today. How sad. You're not, what's a holiday? All right, here we go. Senior Management Analyst 2, Assistant Division Head, Administrative Services Division, Public Works, Bureau of Engineering. Mildred shines in her role as the Bureau's key resource for personnel and human resources issues, where she guides and leads in delivering projects in a timely, efficient, and accomplished manner. I thought that's what the general manager is supposed to do.
I help him.
Isn't that what Gary Moore is supposed to do?
I help him.
That's what he takes credit for. She's known as engineering's personnel walking encyclopedia, represents the Bureau on critical personnel issues, and with the Office of Management and Employee Services, the CAO, and the Personnel Department. As group manager of the training section, she is instrumental in the development and implementation of the Bureau's training classes and is the force behind the development and implementation of an online orientation program for new employees. You do a lot of work, and Gary takes all the credit. Congratulations, Mildred. Thank you. And joining us today,
As you can hear, those are the wonderful people from the Bureau of Engineering cheering in the back. They make a lot of noise. My husband, Charles Owens, my granddaughter, Haley Owens, my daughter, Erica Owens, and a very special friend, Jesse Diaz, and along with me, my supervisor, Winifred Hirano, and of course, the great city engineer, Gary Lee Moore.
all right. Here we go. Come on up for a photo. Everybody slide in. We'll do more photos in the back. Gary, hop in there. Okay.
Follow her right out.
Our next recipient comes to us from the Library Department. Robin Pesch, Management Analyst 2, Branch Library Services. Peschek. How do you pronounce that last name? Peschek. Robin Peschek. Facilities point person working with staff from 17 branch libraries on issues ranging from maintenance, salvage, custodial, and other special service requests. In addition, she is the library's relocation maven, involved in moving branches, whether into new quarters, temporary quarters, or in and out of bookmobiles and temporary offices. Her unrelenting efforts were instrumental in the city's library building program, which was achieved on time and under budget. Robin, congratulations. And who's with us today? Here, microphone.
My brother Bob, my sister Joni, my niece Erin, my daughter Kate, and her boyfriend Danny.
All right, the family is here. Your daughter did good. You taught her how to read. Then she went to the library.
She said to me once he got the award, "Are you proud of me, Dad?" I said, "Since you was about that big."
Hold on. Grab it. No, we can do a photo and then we'll do some more in the back.
Okay, photo.
All right, come on, hop in there, hop in there. Don't go away, Robin. Where are you going?
I'm going to stay in the middle. I'm staying in the middle.
Okay, we'll see you in the back for additional photos in a few minutes. And our final presentation comes to us, Team West Valley Animal Shelter Group Award, Department of Animal Services. Jan Selder, Senior Animal Control Officer 2. Troy Boswell, Senior Animal Control Officer 1. Sergio Rios, Animal Care Technician Supervisor. And Rowena Quintillo Quixote, Senior Clerk Typist. These four individuals are the epitome of a team, a strong sense of mission to the City of Los Angeles. They led their respective units in embracing the goals of excellent quality animal care and animal rescue. In the process, they have united and reunited pets with their owners while dealing with the challenges of ongoing construction, cramped kennel and medical space, a frustrated public, and power failures, to name a few. The West Valley Animal Shelter team has the best record in the number of animals adopted in the past 2 years. They also had a net decrease in the number of animals euthanized, resulting in West Valley Animal Shelter being rated a star facility. The team, West Valley Animal Shelter, congratulations to you for the group award. And I was informed by your general manager, Ed Volks, come on up here, Ed, that there was an incident yesterday at one of the shelters, an unusual device that the police department had to get involved in. And in addition to rescuing animals, saving animals, and relocating them with their families, reuniting them with families, there's other challenges that the members of Animal Services go through every single day. So, Ed, do you have a couple comments on that?
Sure. Animal Services is one of the city departments that make the claim that we create happiness by bringing pets and people together. And it's unfortunate there are some misguided individuals in our community who don't understand the important role of Animal Services in our extraordinary employees. We had an incident yesterday where an individual left a box, an unidentified brown box, in our shelter in a very threatening manner and tried to get away. He was arrested. Bomb squad had to be called in. And inside the box was, after 3 hours of closing down operations, we found a doll with a hangman's noose over it and several rounds of live ammunition. As the individual was being taken to jail, there were some threats of coming back to get you all. So it's really unfortunate. It really shows that when our employees come to work every day, they don't know what faces them, but they come, there's a commitment, there's a dedication to saving lives, and Animal Services is a team that we can all be very proud of.
Absolutely. And we have too many to name here for family members. We'll do photos in the back. We'll do some photos right now. There's what?
Thank you very much, Mr. Zine. Mr. Garcetti, I believe your presentation will be next.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zine.
Thank you. I'm not done.
I thought you said that was the last one.
No, well, that's the last one on this, but we have the Sister City program, and I don't know if we're going to do some other presentation before that. No, thank you. Mr. Garcetti, are we ready to do that now?
I think the council president is going to join you.
Come on. Okay, our next presentation, Ferris Wiebe is going to join me, thank you, along with Council President Eric Garcetti. We're going to hear, we unveiled a sign this morning across the street. Council General Wiebe, come in. Father Zaidan. Eric Garcetti and I visited Beirut, Lebanon. We have established a sister city with Beirut, Lebanon, and I'm very proud to say I'm Lebanese and the first member of the city council in the history of Los Angeles to be Lebanese, to be elected to this beautiful body. And while we serve all people in this city of Los Angeles, beautiful city, we have special relationships around the world, and one of those special relationships is with the city of Beirut, Lebanon. We have some musicians, some singers, the choir that's going to perform that have come from Beirut, Lebanon, also from El Camino High School. We're going to begin Notre Dame University.
El Camino College.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say?
You said high school.
I'm sorry. El Camino College. Well, I have El Camino High School in my district, which wins the decathlon every year. But we have the Notre Dame University from Beirut, the chorale under the direction of Father Rame, and we have El Camino College from Torrance, Dr. Joanna Nashif, who also joined us on the trip to Beirut, Lebanon. We're going to hear from them, and then we will have a presentation and some other interesting comments to make. We have El Camino here with the American flag. We have the University, Notre Dame University from Beirut, Lebanon, and they're wearing the Lebanese flag scarf. And you got the show.
Talk about your kings of Gideon. Talk about your men of Saul. Fun by good old Joshua at the Battle of Jericho. Joshua at the Battle of Jericho. Joshua at the Battle of Jericho. And the walls come tumbling down. The Battle of Jericho. Joshua at the Battle of Jericho. Right up to the walls of Jericho. Then the land man she falls begins to fall, and the trumpets begin to sound. Joshua commanded the children to shout, and the walls were tumbling down. Joshua with the battle, that's a battle of Jericho. Joshua with the battle, that's a battle of Jericho. Joshua with the battle, that's a battle of Jericho. The walls come. Oh Lord, if you're ready, that's a battle of Jericho. That's a battle of Jericho.
The chorale from El Camino College in Torrance, California. Now we're going to hear from the chorale from Beirut, Lebanon.
يا سيد يا بوليبة يا هاوي يا معاتب يا حلوين بحتيني بكلامك مرحب يا زي اللو بحيب بطل وقضينا العمر كله ما شفنا الحبيب يا زي يا بوليبة يا هاوي يا معاتب يا حلوين بحتيني بكلامك مرحب لا 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 لا
Father Rami, thank you. Notre Dame University from Beirut. Father Rami, thank you. Thank you. Yesterday you were at Disneyland. And I want to mention that the Notre Dame University is visiting Los Angeles, being hosted by El Camino College with the support of the LA Beirut Sister City Committee. There's a concert tomorrow. Joanna, come up here. Because I know there's another event at the Grove this Sunday. So we want to announce that they will be performing at different venues. And if you could give that announcement to our viewing public.
I'm Dr. Joanna Medawar-Nashef, Director of Choral Activities at El Camino College, and it is my great pleasure that we can have our partners from Lebanon here. Tomorrow evening, we are having a big concert open to the whole public. It seats 2,000. El Camino College Marcy Auditorium in Torrance at 8 p.m., intersection of Crenshaw and Redondo Beach. On Sunday at the Grove, Notre Dame University Choir will be performing at 3:30, representing Beirut, LA Beirut Sister City. While other events are taking place as well, we are thanking them for being here. We are privileged to be in City Hall. Thank you, Dennis Sain. Thank you, President Garcetti. It is my great honor. And Tom Labange, without you, we wouldn't have started all this, right? Thank you very much.
Tom is our Sister City Ambassador. Eric.
And Tom will be telling you about an amazing Sister City Cultural Day that's coming up on Sunday that we're so proud to have our Lebanese counterparts at. And it's wonderful to welcome all of our friends from Beirut, our sister city. We unveiled the sign. It's almost like a cedar of Lebanon out there, that stem of these wonderful branches of all of our sister cities, and we added a beautiful new branch of peace out there with the sign that points towards Beirut. And for all of us, we look at that and knowing that our countries have so much friendship and so much history together, and obviously whether it's the immigrants or children of immigrants or grandchildren of immigrants that are here, like Mr. Zain, who returned to Lebanon, the first member of his family in 3 generations, or whether it's somebody from Los Angeles who might be going to Lebanon for the first time, like I hope some members of our choir will be able to do in their future. This is about solidifying those seeds of peace, and we couldn't have done it without Ferris Webby, without the entire group of folks that were part of our Sister City Association and Committee. Consul General Webby as well, no relation, but a great Consul General who has really made this part of his legacy, and our great friends that are in Beirut. I know the Mayor and the Vice Mayor are with us here in spirit very much, and 2 dear friends, as well as the entire City Council that we've spent the last 2 summers with. So thank you, Mr. Zain, and congratulations to everybody, and thank you also to Mitch O'Farrell and Brian Perry from the 2 of our offices for their help as well. And with that, Mr. Labange, our great president of Sister City Association, is going to say a few words as well.
Well, thank you very much, and it is wonderful to see the faces from around the world here in Los Angeles, because that is Los Angeles. And as on Sunday, as mentioned at the Grove, 3rd and Fairfax, adjacent to Farmers Market, we're going to have a cultural day where acts, and we're especially looking forward to you, come and perform on behalf of their sister cities. It's a very special day. We're all welcome to come and enjoy it from 12 to 7 at 3rd and Fairfax at the Grove. And I thank all of you, Mr. Zain and Mr. Garcetti, for this effort here. As you spoke of the Consul General, this is what it's all about. It's people to people. It's people to people. And this makes for a better world, and I'm just proud to play a small part of it, and I appreciate it. Madam President, thank you very much, and let me turn it back to the great Mr. Zain.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to conclude by saying I was at Congress yesterday, United States Congress, testifying before a committee on immigration. And it was interesting that when we look at people from Beirut, Lebanon, we look at people from El Camino College, we're looking at people who want to participate and live in peace and harmony. And that's what it's about. So this whole issue about fighting and conflict and war, we need to, as Tom Labange says, be one people that works together for harmony in this world. The Consul General, well, I'm not forgetting the Consul General, because our Consul General, who's been a good friend, is going to be leaving us. He's being assigned to another mission, but he's been a dear friend. And I don't know how many more hours he has in the city of Los Angeles, but we want to hear from our Consul General Wiebe, who's been a very dear friend, and many, many activities that have helped foster the relationship that we have between the city of Los Angeles and Beirut. Consul General. A couple words from you. When are you leaving?
We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know. Well, I want to express my real thanks and gratitude to all members of the City Council, especially to the President, Mr. Eric Garcetti, and Mr. Tom Labange, and Mr. Dennis Zain. We are very proud of this achievement, and Beirut, Los Angeles, sister cities are a big hope for us to make the life of both cities, citizens better, good relations on person-to-person level, on city-to-city level, either private or public sectors. We are very happy for that achievement. God bless you all. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Consul General Wiebe. And a man with the Rotary International, Ferris Wiebe, who has been instrumental in helping us with the logistics, along with Gus, who helped us to find the way to the airport and fly back to America. Ferris Wiebe.
Thank you. Council members, Council President, friends, I want to thank you. And it was over 50 years ago when Dwight Eisenhower founded the Sister City organization. He knew back then it's people to people that will make the world more peaceful. It is true today, and it's going to be true in the future. And Los Angeles has led the way, actually, in the Sister City organization, and under the leadership of Council Member Tom Labange, who's out there cheering us on. And I want to thank Dennis Zain, and I want to thank Council President Eric Garcetti, because if it wasn't for them, because if it wasn't for them, we will not be able to do this today. And at the end of the day, this is going to be great for the city of Los Angeles. This is about commerce, about people-to-people, culture, exchange, and that's how we're going to make the world a little bit more peaceful. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Ferris. Avak, Undersecretary Avak, our friend who also helps in the Avak, take a bow. Avak Atanian. And just one more thing, I'm going to have Father Zaidan close with a prayer, but I also want to acknowledge all the people that came out today from the Lebanese community that came to the unveiling, that took the time to come down here for this. We had a packed audience across the street. Please stand. The people that joined us today from Beirut, from Los Angeles, that were here today, showing their support for this wonderful relationship between the city of Los Angeles and the Middle East, Beirut, Lebanon. Father Zaidan for a closing prayer.
Almighty God, we pause this morning to give you thanks. To give you thanks for everyone here present, especially for the efforts of the City Council to make Los Angeles and Beirut as sister cities. We ask to grant peace to Lebanon, especially at this difficult time, and also to shower all your grace and blessings upon Los Angeles and Beirut, upon all the inhabitants, so that peace will be in hearts, in homes, in cities, and everywhere. We ask also to guide all the people in charge, so that in everything we do, we try to respect the human beings and work for peace as peacemakers and bring people together as one community, pleasing to you now and forever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Madam President. We're going to do pictures in the back.
Thank you, Mr. Zaina, Mr. Garcetti, and Mr. Labange. I'd like to acknowledge first Mr. Cardenas for an introduction, followed by Mr. Reyes will have an introduction, and then Mr. Cardenas will have a presentation.
Madam President, just one more thing. We have a reception that's going to be on the South Spring Street forecourt. Middle Eastern food. Everyone's invited till 1 o'clock this afternoon. Spring Street steps, City Hall.
Spring. Thank you, Mr. Zain. Yes, Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd just like to ask the San Fernando High School students who are here if they could please stand so we can recognize you. We have Mr. Baker's class. They came to see City Hall, their City Hall, and being that San Fernando High School is the best high school in the city, at least from my perspective, that's where I went to school. I just want to welcome them. Mr. Baker, thank you so much for bringing your students to enjoy their City Hall.
Madam President, today we are joined by the Echo Horizon third graders. If you can wave your hand, I know there's a lot of people around you, but it's the Echo Horizon third grade class from Culver City, being brought in by Mrs. Young and Mrs. Tremblay. Taking advantage of this great day. This City Hall has a lot to offer in education, a lot of great murals, a lot of great history. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Mr. Cardenas.
I'd like Councilmember Reyes to come forward and join me, and also the representatives from Goodwill Southern California Industries who are here today. Thank you very much, Madam President. Today we are going to celebrate and commemorate Goodwill Southern California, Goodwill Industries of Southern California, celebrating their 90th anniversary serving Los Angeles. Let's give them a hand. Goodwill's mission is about transforming lives through the power of work. Goodwill Southern California serves persons with disabilities or other vocational disadvantages and local businesses seeking qualified employees by providing education, skills training, work experience, and job placement services. And their logo, which I think is about as American as any logo I could imagine, is, it's not a charity, but a chance. That is their logo. Also, I'd like to mention how Goodwill Industries got started. Catherine B. Higgins started what is today Goodwill Industries of Southern California near the Plaza of the Old Pueblo de Los Angeles in 1916. The plaza is otherwise known as Alvera Street to all of us today. They're founded for the sole purpose of helping people help themselves and are managed not as a charity, but as a chance to achieve self-sufficiency, a provider of employment, training, and rehabilitation for people of limited employability so they can support their families and build stronger communities. Goodwill started its mission by collecting donated items through the distribution of empty burlap sacks to students, businessmen, and others who wanted to help. The garments were repaired by people who were unemployed and sold at very low prices. The repair shop became known as Goodwill Industries. The system worked, and the Goodwill philosophy of a hand up, not a handout, was born. Now it is a $70 million not-for-profit organization. The Goodwill Industries overall is a $2 billion organization. And more than 22,000 people with disabilities and vocational disadvantages benefit from Goodwill Southern California's education, job training, and placement programs each year. In 2006, they placed 1,996 people into community employment with an average wage of over $10.75. They operate 50 retail stores, 36 attended donation centers, 3 campuses, 23 workforce training centers, and counties of Los Angeles, Riverside, and San Bernardino. That's the span of Goodwill Industries, Southern California. And with me to help commemorate them is my colleague, Ed Reyes, who also has a close relationship with Goodwill Industries and his district.
Thank you, Councilman Cardenas. I appreciate the opportunity to join you in honoring Goodwill. I have seen Goodwill emerge over the years. I've been told by Mr. Barr, the executive, our CEO, that it's their 90th anniversary. And for me to see them mature in the past 15 years to a point where now they offer such excellent services and support, job training, watching their facility actually become a center for job training, but not only that, a community center. They offer their auditorium, their facilities, for community meetings. We had many master plan meetings for the river at that site. You have a fantastic property where there's a lot of potential. And yes, we're talking about how we can maximize their presence in the 1st District, let alone in the city, if not in Southern California. So I want to thank Councilman Cardenas for asking me to join them today. And it's good to see the recognition that they deserve. Have a great day.
With that, before we give them their resolution in commemoration, I'd like to ask Douglas H. Barr, President and CEO of Goodwill Southern California, to say a few words.
Thank you, Madam President and members of Council. Thank you for honoring Goodwill at your meeting today. I'd like to recognize a trainee and a graduate present at this meeting. These are the folks for whom Goodwill exists. And with me today is Randall Rushing, our Assistant Coordinator of the Deaf Education and Training Center, who will interpret for me. On my left is Cesar Zamora, a trainee. Cesar is deaf. He has a history of gang involvement. He went through our Deaf Training and Employment Center several years ago and is now currently training in our Food Services Department at Goodwill's cafeteria. Also on my right, Lorraine Moreland, a graduate. Lorraine was homeless for 8 years prior coming to Goodwill. She utilized the services of Metro North WorkSource Center, a center funded by the City of Los Angeles with WIA funds. She got her first job at Denny's, advanced at Denny's to become a restaurant manager, and is now employed by the Good Shepherd Center as a cook and evening attendant. She's been in the workforce for 12 years. I'd like to thank Councilmember Coney Cardenas for his advocacy for people with disabilities, and in particular those who are deaf and hard of hearing. The Council member secured Council's approval to declare September as Deaf Awareness Month. He hosts the Deaf Festival for Los Angeles. He honored Goodwill 2 years ago as an employer for the people who are deaf and hard of hearing. I'd also like to acknowledge the support of Councilmember Ed Reyes. Ed has been a strong supporter of everything we've done, and our main headquarters sits in his district. Goodwill is here as a resource to the people of this community. We help to place the hardest to serve in jobs. We deal with welfare recipients, the chronically unemployed, the elderly, ex-offenders, and people with disabilities. We educate employers and the general public about employing people with disabilities, and we connect businesses with this alternative and highly reliable workforce. We started in Los Angeles, but now our service area covers from Santa Monica to the Nevada border, from Lancaster to La Mirada. We're not just a resource, though. Everyone knows we're one of the largest retailers and recyclers in the area. But here's something you didn't know about Goodwill. Did you know that we offer competitive assembly and fulfillment, secure shredding, computer recycling, and custodial and building services with a workforce that's 88% disabled? You didn't know it, did you? Well, now you do. Thank you again for giving us an opportunity to be here today. We look forward to serving the people of this community, and for job seekers, we want to continue to make a difference in your community for the next 90 years. Thank you for this honor.
Thank you. And I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Labange, who would like to say something as well.
As Mr. Cardenas presents the commendation, Doug, congratulations, Mr. Reyes. I know it's a great facility in your district, and I just got a special shout out to everybody, but especially Lorraine, who I've known for many years and known of her work at the Good Shepherd Center. She truly is an angel in the City of Angels. Congratulations to Goodwill. Thank you.
So with that, it gives me great pleasure and honor to give this heartfelt certificate of recognition on behalf of the City of Los Angeles to Goodwill Southern California for their 90 years of wonderful work that they've been doing. They truly do embody what this country is about. They truly are about making this country great and making people's lives, making a difference in people's lives and giving them an opportunity to feed their families and to work and be proud. So thank you so much to Goodwill Industries, Southern California.
Everybody come around, say cheese. There you go. All right, ready? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cardenas and Mr. Reyes. I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Herb Wesson.
How is your wife?
She's good. She's
Give her my
cancer-free.
love. Oh,
You and Ed both. Okay.
just praying for her.
Here we go. Boom, boom. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President and members. Today is my favorite day. It's Pet Adoption Friday. I want to start off with this beautiful little domestic short-haired cat that's 2 months old. Her name is Pickles. Now, I think I have the owner next to me.
No, my dog's.
I thought. See, now she doesn't want to let you go. But Pickles is gorgeous, and I'm glad that we're joined by Ed Boakes, who's our general manager for animal services. This little kitty cat will not take up a lot of space in your home. She's looking for a mom. She's looking for a dad. Please. She's a beauty. Let's take her home. Now, it is my pleasure to present to you. Oh, Vito. This is Vito. I call him Don Vito. Don Vito is a mixed Chihuahua. He's about 14 months old. He will not get any bigger than he is right now. He's a sweetheart. In fact, earlier today, Dennis Zine honored the West Valley, Ed, and these two companion animals come from the West Valley shelter. They have their shots. He's been neutered and microchipped, and she as well, except for she's been spayed, not neutered, thank God. But anyway, if you want unconditional love, if you want somebody that's going to be at home that can't wait until you get home so that they could be with you, please call us and adopt these two animals. The number to call is 888-452-7381. Again, 888-542-7381. That's for Pickles, who is crawling down the back, Pickles and Don Vito. And for those of you, when you call and you see that these two lovely guy and gal have been adopted, don't be depressed. We have hundreds and hundreds of animals in our shelters throughout the city of Los Angeles. So please call. And the last thing I want to remind you of is we have a 100% adoption rate. So let's not let today be the day. We want to stay at 100%. Madam President and members, I think Council Member Parks probably wants. Parks wants
I'm certain of
Don
that.
Vito. So what I'm going to do is just go leave Don Vito on his desk. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Reyes.
But before
yes, I'm sorry,
folks
Mr.
get away,
Labange.
Mr.
Box and Mr. Wesson. Mr. Box, Mr. Wesson.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Mr. Weston, thank you for your leadership on this. But I also wanted to thank Animal Services yesterday. There was a very odd situation where a mother and a fawn deer were on the freeway right by Universal. Animal Service staff responded along with the great leadership of the CHP, LAPD, and Jimmy Price and the LA DOT were able to cordon off the area and make a rescue attempt. Unfortunately, the deer had been hit and was suffering of broken legs and wasn't able to be healed, but her fawn did make it to the wilderness adjacent to the freeway and up. But give Animal Services and their very small staff that should be increased, especially all those special wildlife officers, a hand. Thank you very much for your help yesterday. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Our next presentation will be from the 1st Council District, represented by Mr. Ed Reyes. Welcome, Mr. Reyes.
Okay, I'd like to ask the building and safety staff to come on up. Let's crowd around the microphone. Make sure your family knows you're at work. Coming up, folks. I think the last time we started recognizing Building and Safety Week, I think it was about 12:30, so we're doing pretty good. It's 11 o'clock today. So that means they'll get back to work sooner, right? Yeah. But, you know, folks, it is my pleasure as Chair of Plum, Planning, Land Use and Management, to be working with Building Safety and Planning. But Building and Safety has been one of those operations that we see every year getting better and better. And perhaps one of their walls should be filled with trophies and recognitions of all the national, local, and state awards they've been getting for their quality of work. These are the folks that make a true difference in our city. These are the folks that are out there in the trenches. At times, they address those properties that are neglected by some, and they go in there without police protection. They go out there without a gun, without a bulletproof vest, and they do their job in the toughest parts of our city. At the same time, they're also the folks who work at the more affluent parts and are able to deal with the issues of whether the wall should be 3 feet higher, or maybe that particular foundation could have been poured differently. They're dealing with the issues across the spectrum, but they make a very big difference in our quality of life. And without their support, essentially, a lot of the safety issues, the very real safety issues, health issues, would be neglected. So I want to thank them for their endless energy, their hard work, but more importantly, the standards they have set in making this a great international city. So with that, I'd like to present to Andrew Edelman, our director, and his great staff, this resolution declaring this Building and Safety Week, or honoring this past week as Building and Safety Week, signed by the Mayor, Antonio Villaraigosa, all my colleagues, all of you here, as well as our City Clerk, our City Controller, and our City Attorney, Rocky Delgadillo, and our City Controller, Laura Chick. So with that, thank you so much, Andrew, for all your hard work.
Thank you. Thank you.
For all the men and women who continue to serve our city well. Congratulations.
Thank you. Please. Thank you. May I say a couple of words?
Please.
On behalf of 900 hardworking men and women in the Department of Building and Safety, I would like to thank you for this recognition. Council members, it is wonderful to serve City of Los Angeles. I'll share a couple of information statistics with you. Each year, there is over 500,000 walk-in customers to the Department of Building and Safety. That is more than the entire population of the state of Wyoming, man, woman, and child. That's how many people walk in through the front door in Building and Safety, and we serve them in an average of 10 minutes each. A couple of other statistics from the stretch from 1990 to 2005 in the city of Los Angeles, we built 3 new high-rise buildings. That's 1 every 5 years. Today, as I speak to you, there is 87 high-rises proposed to be built, and about 30 of them are certain to be built. Of those 87 high-rises, the tallest one is 72 stories or 76 stories tall. So as far as construction activity is concerned, this is good old days in the city of LA. One more statistic, and that is in terms of housing, much-needed housing for our residents in this great city. In early 90s, we were building about 2,500 dwelling units per year. Today, we are building about 16,000 dwelling units per year. That's 6-fold. And that is providing the much-needed housing. So your employees in Building and Safety are at work hard and doing the best we can. Basically, with the same number of staff, we are doing considerably more work. And we are here to make sure that the city of LA is safe. Buildings are safe, but at the same time, the buildings are built in LA and jobs are kept right here in LA. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe there's one important point I want to emphasize. When Building and Safety can process a building within the time frame of a developer's budget plan, and they ask for density bonuses, we can afford to support more workforce and affordable housing. So how they're able to move these plans, how quickly their permits are processed, really reflects on our ability to promote affordable housing, workforce housing. So again, I want to thank them for the efficiencies and hopefully move our projects as soon as possible for the sake of access to market and affordable housing. Thank you very much, Council President.
Mr. Labange, would you like to
I
add?
wanted to stand just to accent the work of Mr. Reyes, who has produced more housing in his district, as Ms. Perry has, and I think I'm third with the benefit of the work of the CRA in North Hollywood.
I think you and Eric are neck and neck on third.
Neck and neck. So on that issue there, but I want to thank Mr. Edelman and his staff and the dedication. Building and safety is so important, you know, because I remember sometimes you hear these stories that they didn't check all the checks right, and make sure as you do that they check all the checks right, because that's the important part of building and safety. And I also, if I could, Mr. Reyes, Lou Zamparini right there, his dad is a great member of the building, he's with Building and Safety, but his dad, at 15 years old, ran for the United States in Berlin, a member of the Olympic team, and an inspiration to us all. I just wanted to call him out, one of many great employees to Building and Safety. Thank you, Building and Safety. Thank you, Mr. Reyes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reyes. And thank you. Congratulations. Madam Clerk, if you'll please call the roll.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Gruhl, Hahn, Weezer, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Weiss, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti. 13 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. We're going to run through the agenda, and then I believe Mr. Alarcon has the last presentation. We'll just... why don't we go ahead and do that first? So Mr. Alarcon from the 7th Council District has our final presentation for the day. Thank you.
Members, it's a very special day, and it's about time that we recognize this group because they've been putting together a festival in Pacoima for 14 years. And I know it's 14 years because when I was city councilman, we did a series of things around providing pride and recognition to people who had done some great things in the community of Pacoima. And one of those people who is historical is Richie Valens. Many of you who are in my age category know that Richie Valens was very famous, and of course the movie in the, I believe it was in the late 80s, in fact I know it was in the late 80s, made Richie Valens famous once again to the younger generation. But we recognized him not only by virtue of a festival, we changed the name of a park from Paxton Park to Richie Valens Park. So before we talk about the festival, I want to tell you that one of the reasons we changed the name was to inspire a positive attitude for the kids of Pacoima. And I remember that the Paxton Boys, which was a gang in the area, was very concerned because they didn't know who Richie Valens was, and they were angry that we took the name of their park away. But we literally went out and negotiated with that gang and told them that this is the community's park. We explained to them who Richie Valens was, and not only did they agree not to violate the park, they agreed to make sure that nobody would put graffiti on that park. Well, I don't know that in 14 years it hasn't had any graffiti, but what I can tell you is Brecken Parks does an amazing job of keeping that park clean and, most importantly, active and well used by the community. But today we're here to celebrate that after 14 years, the Richie Valens Festival continued. And it has become even more than that, where we have created a Battle of the Bands, and each year people come together in a very peaceful tribute to Richie Valens and to promote talent and music in Pacoima at Richie Valens Park. So we wanted to recognize those people who have been absolutely critical to that. The committee members who put this on, of course, our park director, Robin Pearson, who has been at Richie Valens Recreation Center for the last 8 years and has continued the tradition. In fact, it grows each year. Has been the backbone of the festival, and certainly we owe a debt of gratitude for putting it together, not just in a way that the park puts it together, but in the way they bring the community together to do this. Robert Arias, I think most of you know him as the Executive Director of Communities in Schools, and is busy working each and every day to make our community safer from gang violence. Has also, on the side, been a promoter of this event and contributor, because I think in his heart he would have really rather have been a Richie Valens, because he is a very talented musician and performer and has donated so much of his time to perform whenever the community asks. And he is instrumental here because he helps with the announcement equipment and so many other things. We owe a debt of gratitude to Robert Arias, who also, by the way, happened to have been a commissioner at El Pueblo. Maria Valencia, who is to my right, behind me, is also one of the inspirations behind this idea. It was when I went at the very first, it was at an event at Richie Valens Park where I actually met her daughter, who at the time was 12 years old and who had just won the talent contest in Las Vegas, and is a phenomenal talent, Stephanie, who we'll recognize in just a second. But Maria has supported her efforts and has been a huge supporter in bringing together the resources to make this event a tremendous success. Maria, thank you so much for, again, making it a success. You know, I don't see Stephanie on here, but I have to mention Stephanie. Stephanie, as I mentioned, she was 12 years old when I met her. She's sung at Dodger Stadium several times, just a phenomenal talent. But most importantly, she's a graduate of UC Irvine. And Pepperdine. Oh, I'm sorry. She's a graduate of Pepperdine. Excuse me, that's closer to home. And but what a phenomenal talent. If you ever need somebody to sing an inspirational song, whether it's the Star Spangled Banner or whether it's one of your favorites, believe me, this young woman is an amazing talent. Not from me. We would clear the halls. We have better people than I who exhibited their talent this weekend. And yes, you're right. Next year we should bring one of the bands here. The theme is garage bands. And the notion is that we have literally created an industry out of the bands that emerge out of garages, just as Richie Valens did some 50 years ago. And so that's the purpose. And so here we're not just going to talk to those who organize this event. We want to congratulate the winning bands of last week at the Richie Valens May Festival, Battle of the Bands. DFM, I don't know what DFM is the band. Yeah. And let me tell you, I was there. This is not for the weak of ear. It is a very loud event. I can tell you people were dancing and exhibiting their amazing talents. And most importantly, it was again, for the 14th time in a row, a very peaceful event. So let me recognize the winners, and we have a presentation of a guitar, a Fender guitar. Eric, you probably know much more about this, Mr. President. It even has paper on it. But anyway, we're presenting this guitar as we started last year presenting guitars. And many of the winners, by the way, received musical instruments in congratulations for their victory. The drummer, who's the drummer? Okay, the drummer received, I believe, a snare drum. A drum set, I'm sorry. And so we're presenting this to the guitarist of the winners. But let me congratulate the best drummer, Armando Palacios, from the Adjects, for winning as the drummer. We want to congratulate bass player Pedro Torres from DFM, the winning band. And we want to present this guitar to somebody who probably has a dozen guitars, or at least a few. But in any case, we'll certainly make use of this one. To the winner of the guitar category, Luis Torres from DFM as well. On behalf of the group, I'd like to ask Maria and Robert if they'd like to make a few comments.
Well, I'd like to say that we've had over 30 bands that enter for the past 2 years, but we only have room for 7 bands to compete on Saturday. And since we draw kids from every part of the San Fernando Valley, all their fans come to see them, and they're also from every part of the San Fernando Valley, and we're very proud that the event has been positive for the community, and it's been peaceful. Thank you.
Great.
You know, as I look here, all the Valley representatives, I've done an event for at your particular parks. I play in the K-Earth band, the Boomers, but this one really is personal for me, having grown up in Pacoima. There are a number of us. I'm 57 years old, so those of us over 50. They would tell you that there was a time in the 60s when the best athlete at Pacoima Junior High was Albert Arias, my big brother, and the best musician at Pacoima Junior High was Richie Valens. It was my brother on the student council that brought Richie to Pacoima Junior High for that famous album, Richie Valens Live at Pacoima Junior High. I want to thank Richard in particular, because it was Richard who hooked me up with Marie many years ago to say, hey, let's preserve this living legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about a man, a young boy at 16 years of age who had 3 gold records and met his fate in a infamous plane crash where we lost Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens, who was 17 years of age. Those 3 records, La Bamba, Come On, Let's Go, and Donna, are played virtually every day. So I want to thank you personally. I also want to thank Farmers Insurance that showed up when we needed money the day before the event. And it needs to be said, our Foothill LAPD division were phenomenal. They had 16 people at this event for a 10-hour day, and we had no problems. So what would a day, thank you to the LAPD. So what would a day be representing Richie Valens without a para bailar la bamba, se necesita una poca de gracia. Thank you. God bless you.
Hey, Ms. Hahn? I think Ms. Hahn wanted to add.
I can't tell you
good wishes.
No. I know, really. I just want to say this is so great and so wonderful. And I stand here today with a new interesting connection to Pacoima. My son, who graduated from Pepperdine a year ago, just is finishing up his first year of teaching math at Pacoima Middle School. I know. And, you know, I think what we're doing here today is so important. You know, one of the city's new passions is trying to end gang violence in Los Angeles. And it's the first time we've ever taken sort of a comprehensive approach to seeing what are the root causes of gang violence and then trying to figure out how to prevent gang violence. Well, the only way we're ever going to prevent gang violence is to make sure that we pay attention to young people and nurture them in their gifts and their natural abilities. Music is such a great way to do that. And I always tell my son, Mark, when he calls with having had a difficult day, first of all, middle school kids they're sort of like their own species, a challenge. And I talk about Richie Valens. I go, Mark, you could have the next Richie Valens in your class. I mean, it's about paying attention to kids. It's about trying to find something in them that can be nurtured and, and really accelerated in their lives. So I think it's great. He's had a wonderful year in Pacoima. He's had a wonderful year having some wonderful students. But this festival is so important, and I really want to thank all of you for taking the time to invest in it. I think it is important, and I think we have a chance. I think we have a chance of growing up a generation, finally, of kids who will say no to gangs and will say yes to the possibilities that they have in their own lives. So thanks for what you're doing to be a part of that.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn, for those remarks. And Richard, thank you for your leadership in the past, too. And Commissioner, good to see you again. This is what it's all about. It's about doing something for others, and then the legacy of Richie Valens, which is so special. And you look at all this interest in American Idol, the fact that he came and how he came, and just was such a phenomenon. And his music still plays today somewhere in the world. They're playing those 3 songs somewhere. So I just want to stand and congratulate you. And Richard asked me for help if I could help any which way, because I think it's wonderful what Ms. Hahn just said.
Do you
and
sing?
I said it earlier. I don't sing, but I like to help people who try to perform. And it's about music, art, and dance, and athletics. Yes, we need to beef up the Los Angeles Police Department, and I'm supportive of that. But at the same time, it's cops and coaches, it's music directors. And I have one question for Richard Alarcon. Okay, you mentioned about garage bands, okay? Buddy Holly and the Crickets. Where did they get the name Crickets? I'll tell you, they were in the garage that Buddy Holly played in, and they called themselves the Crickets in West Texas, where he was East Texas playing. Buddy Holly got the name Crickets from the garage. So garage bands are so important. Awesome. Congratulations. Watch your ears, though. We don't want to play too loud.
Let me say thank you to my colleagues for those kind remarks. Richie Valens inspired me, actually. My name is Richard, and you don't know how many family members used to call me Richie Valens as I was growing up. So I understood the connection to success a little bit better because I connected to Richie Valens. And many kids in that era did, in fact, Robert included. And so I felt that if we can continue that positive legacy where the first thing he did when he found success was to buy a home for his mother, that kind of legacy needs to live on. And I can tell you the good news is that for 5 or 6 hours while this festival was going on, the last thing anybody was thinking about was gang violence, and that's the tribute to this kind of event. So congratulations. We're going to do it again next year, and Tom, Janice, you're all invited.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
That finishes our presentations for today. Let's run through the agenda, please. Our first order of business, excuse me.
Approval of the minutes.
Ms. Hahn moves and Mr. Labange seconds. Without objection, those minutes will be approved. Next order of business.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Smith moves and Mr. Rosendahl seconds. Without objection, those 2 will be approved.
Mr. President, would you like to go through public comments at this time?
We will return to public comments. Let's run through the agenda first, and we'll take up public comment as the first thing after that, please. First items.
Items 1 through 9 are items noticed for public hearing. A report is submitted for item number 1.
Okay. We do have 2 cards on item number 1 as well, so we'll call that special for cards from the public. That leaves 2 through 9. Colleagues, any specials? 2 through 9? Seeing none, let's go ahead and open the roll on the balance, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item, please.
Next is item 10, and that is an item for which public hearing has been held. The Energy and Environment report was submitted for that item.
Okay. Anybody wishing to call number 10 special? Seeing none, and we've had the public hearing in committee, please open the roll, Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next items, please.
Next are items 11 to 23. Those are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, we have cards on 14 and cards on 23. Do we know of any other cards?
Mr. President, there is a substitute motion for item number 15.
Okay, without objection, colleagues, we will substitute that motion. Anybody wishing to call any other special, we'll open and close the public hearings on the balance. Seeing no specials, let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, those are approved. Next item, please. Or we took up 23, right?
Yes, we
Okay.
took up number 23.
So let's go back to public comment now. And our first speaker is Marilyn Jackson. Welcome to City Council. And
Thank you.
2 minutes to
My
address
name
us.
is
Thank you.
Marilyn Jackson, President Garcetti, and I'm a resident of Councilman Janice Han's area. I have a concern about the working poor at South Central Los Angeles. I'm a graduate of Fremont High School. I had no criminal record at all at Fremont High School. I worked for the Los Angeles County Civil Service at the Los Angeles County Courthouse. I was a typist clerk. I think the world has a false impression of the working poor. We get married. We do what everyone else does. It's not what we envision. We work as domestic help. We work as laborers, not all as civil service employees. We go on vacations. We drive on vacations. We usually drive used Fords. We drive to Tijuana, which is wrong etiquette. We go to Knox Ferry Farm. We go fishing. We go to San Francisco. Really, when we work as laborers, not all as civil service employees, we drive. We usually drive cross country, which is what some men can do, and some men work as laborers. So this whole false precept of the working poor has been growing our context. Sometimes we go to Las Vegas, Palm Springs, and Yosemite, which is all of us can't afford, and some can't afford, and they have the middle income and affluent has a false impression of us, and usually the etiquette that is perceived in Las Vegas is not what everyone does. That is staying in a hotel, eating in that hotel, gambling in that hotel, going to the entertainment in that hotel. Everyone doesn't do that. So I think that the working poor, I worked for 30 years, and I worked for the county government, the sheriff's office as a typist clerk, and I went to school with men and women who I shouldn't have gone to school with. I wanted to be a teacher, and then reality set in junior high school. I started taking typing classes, and I was a typist clerk, and I feel the school system has to be revamped to realize that everyone can't do the same thing. And I worked with VA for 24 years downtown next door, and there were different classes of women and men that shouldn't be working together, that we have nothing in common. So I think that the working poor should be acknowledged across the country, because we do work, we get married, we have funerals, and we wear black to funerals. Our children arrange their itineraries. So I think the working poor should be acknowledged.
Appreciate your comments. Daniel Gus out in Van Nuys is our next speaker. In Van Nuys? Yes, Mr. Wesson, for?
Would this be an appropriate time to announce that our 2 companion animals have been adopted? So
excellent.
So
Congratulations.
our adoption rate is still 100%.
All right. Well done, Mr. Wesson, and thank you for that. Daniel Gus is our next speaker out in Van Nuys.
Hi. Since the first speaker got an extra minute, I'd like an extra minute to speak also.
It's 2 minutes per speaker. I'm sorry if there's an error, but it's 2 minutes per speaker. Go ahead.
I'm concerned that Mr. Wesson is claiming a 100% adoption rate. I don't suppose he's aware that 650 animals were killed in city shelters in March. 650 animals. Can you please stop your phone, please? I'm really concerned that we're claiming a 100% adoption rate when 650 animals were killed in the city of Los Angeles. I think since the council had the outrageous the outrageous idea of honoring Dave DiLiberto today, maybe they can honor Sarah Nelson, a former animal control officer for the city, whose career was ruined by Dave DiLiberto last year, and who the city had to pay $100,000 to settle a sexual harassment lawsuit. Maybe we can have her in here and honor her and apologize to her for Dave DiLiberto ruining her career. Also, yesterday I had an op-ed in the Los Angeles Daily News about how the city is squandering tens of millions of dollars building out the elephant exhibit. There's one elephant remaining. How about giving him his freedom and saving the city $10, $20, $30 million that you're squandering now to build out that exhibit? That's terrible. I also want to know why the spay-neuter clinics aren't open in the city shelters. We've paid $3 million, and those clinics aren't open. They're not staffed. It's incredibly good that we're going to have a citywide spay-neuter ordinance, but without spay-neuter clinics and without veterinarians, how do you think it's going to be a success? And I'd like Mr. Bose to come up here and tell us why we don't have more vets in the city. The Los Angeles Times wrote about it back in January. We have fewer vets now than we did back then. And I'm just amazed that you guys are honoring Dave DiLiberto after he ruined a woman's career, and you had to pay $100,000 to settle the lawsuit.
Thank you, Mr. Gus. Our next speaker is Sharon Brewer, also out in Van Nuys. After Sharon Brewer will be Damon Sampson. The second will be here after that. Welcome, Ms. Brewer.
Hi. Can a little more warning on there? But I thought I was going to be next. Okay. Sharon Brewer, comment for CD6 specifically. Sunday, May 13th, 2007, Mother's Day at Lake Balboa. I arrived at the park at 10:15, lots of cars and people already there. While walking around the park, I noticed cars already illegally parked. At 12:10 p.m., I called Office of Public Safety about 6 cars parked on the bike path and other illegally parked cars. People were double parking to unload food and supplies. At 2:35 p.m., I called Office of Public Safety again about the cars on the bike path, but now there were 18 cars illegally parked on the bike path. Cars were also parked on the grass, in some places too deep. Cars were parked where the back end of the car was facing the road. Cars are to park parallel to the road. I've been telling CD6 and City Council about the safety issues at Lake Balboa for months and Recreation and Parks for years. Is it going to take a child or an adult riding on the bike path to be seriously injured because of illegally parked cars on the bike path before CD6 or Recreation and Parks does something? I left the park at 6 p.m., never saw Office of Public Safety come through the park. There were still 18 cars parked illegally by the bike path. Tom LaBonge, what happened to a designated ranger or Office of Public Safety officer for each regional park? By ticketing and or towing illegally parked cars at Lake Balboa, revenue can be generated for the city, and the out-of-control parking problem can be taken care of. Lake Balboa needs involvement from rangers, Office of Public Safety, LAPD, and DOT to make the park safe for the public. City Council, stop ignoring the public safety issues at Lake Balboa. There were also other cars that were still illegally parked, and it's going to be worse for Memorial Day, and they need to have some kind of enforcement there before somebody gets seriously injured. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Damon Sampson, the second. Damon Sampson. After that will be Melrose Larry Green.
Good morning. My name is Damon L. Sampson II. I was raised in South Los Angeles, California, Inglewood also. And I was in the military for 4 years in the Air Force, served my country, and I returned here in 2005. And I'm appalled at the manner in which parents are receiving tickets for parking in front of schools and drop their children off and walk their children to the front of the school. I don't understand that process. My question is, I know that when you receive a ticket in the mail from running the light, they have you on the camera, you get a ticket in the mail and they send you a picture. Where's the proof? Do you have people from LA Dot who are out there with video cameras and out there filming parents, and there's no proof that the parent actually dropped the kid off in there no parking zone? There's no evidence. It's just a video camera someone got from Circuit City or Best Buy somewhere on their own. And I'd like to know who authorized that. And also, where's the integrity of the city to collect money or collect revenue from a parent dropping their child off at school? You know, what are you trying to do? Deter somebody from dropping their child off? I also like to question the process of placing 1-hour parking signs in front of residences when there is a business on the same street, but you're also placing 1-hour parking signs in front of homes. which is deterring people. Basically, what you're doing is you're making it to where people like me, decent citizens who come back to this country or serve in the country, don't want to live here in this city. You're running us off, and I just don't understand the process. Like I said, I want to question the integrity of the city to be willing to collect revenue from someone in that manner. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Melrose Larry Green, and after that is Arnold Sachs.
Good morning. I have a little laryngitis. I was at the march yesterday at MacArthur Park, and I was out shouting the lunatic protesters that were against Bill Bratton, and I was, as they were yelling something about Bill Bratton, I was yelling 5 more years. So I have a little laryngitis this morning. You know, when a positive event goes on in the city of L.A. without any hitches, no problems, the media is all annoyed. They were all so angry last night at KTLA, KABC, all the satellite trucks, Ed. They were all angry. They were all hoping there'd be some problems. You know what? Mayor Villaraigosa and Bill Bratton walked the streets of MacArthur Park last night. I saw you on TV, Eric, and I'm sure many others of you were at the march. There wasn't any problems. And that should be the breaking news on the story, first thing. And there were so many people at MacArthur Park thanking the LAPD in Spanish and English. And it was so heartwarming to see young boys and girls, maybe 4 or 5 years old, posing for photos with Bill Bratton and the mayor. And I look into the eyes of some of these young kids. I'm thinking maybe these are future city council people or Melrose Larry Greens or police officers. And I was very thrilled to be there at the march yesterday, and the police conduct was exemplary. But we don't need any more consent decrees in the city of L.A., and this Erwin Chemerinsky is living in the past, and he ought to go back to Harvard or wherever he went to school. You don't need a federal consent decree running the LAPD. The city council and the police commission is fine. Also, I want to indicate that I'll be at the event at the Grove on Sunday with my great councilman, Tom Labange, and I met the club owner of Phi Dudu, who was a friend of Eric Garcetti's, Stephen Yablon from Eric Garcetti's district. He lives over in Echo Park. I'm a great keyboard player. A lot of you don't know this. You know, besides all my other talents, the only white guy that plays better than me is Jerry Lee Lewis. And one day I'll play piano for you. You got a piano in the back, but we won't do it right now. I also want to indicate Clinton and La Brea. You need cops at that no right turn at Clinton and La Brea. People make the right turn 100 people a day. Clinton and La Brea, no right turn. Thank you.
Thank you. Arnold Sachs is our next speaker. After Arnold Sachs will be Candido Mares.
Good morning, council members. Again, I'd like to discuss MTA's upcoming fare increase and the fact that, again, it's claimed the revenues aren't sufficient to meet operating costs. And I'm just trying to get some answers from somebody about the operating costs of the MTA. Mr. President, could you please ask for outside conversations to
Sure. If we could ask everybody to please
and hold my time. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Again, I went to an exposition gold line extension meeting, but I couldn't find a meeting for the East Side extension because there's no construction committee meeting, and I'm just trying to get some information about, according to what my understanding is that the California legislature creates these construction authorities to fund the construction for the MTA rail system that the MTA provides the funding for. And since there's no construction authority for the East Side extension, how's the funding made available, and who's the funding made available to, and what is the amount of the funding used for the project? Can somebody find some answers? These are your constituents that are paying for this. Again, sir, the conversations. There's pending legislation in the state legislature for the Green Line Construction Authority. Well, if there's not a construction authority necessary for the East Side extension, then why is there a construction authority needed for the Green Line extension? And also, MTA has got funding available for a study to connect the exposition line to the Green Line, but they don't want to fund the Green Line. They don't want to. Answers, please. Somebody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Our next speaker is Candido Mares, and after that will be Duke Russell.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members. Mr. Zion's not here, but I want to thank him for bringing the city workers that were here, that were honored here today. It was wonderful to hear all the savings that were taking place. One individual had saved the city $1 million, another supposedly $200 million. So it's always nice to see the good working people of this great city honored. That's why I stand up for the police department. 99.99% of them are wonderful, hard-working people. We saw yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, you folks were out in MacArthur Park again. It was a wonderful event. The difference was the agitators weren't there. The police were there. The motorcycle police officers were there. The riot gear was there. But you were there. So if we're going to have another demonstration, I hope that, again, you'll be there and we'll make this a more peaceful event. That's why in 2004, Mr. President, when a young lady by the name of Sandra Miranda from DWP came to this council to expose fraud and corruption at DWP and save the Department of Water and Power. Millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. And nothing was done for her. I made a promise to her then when you appointed me to that committee. And Ms. Hahn, you were the only one that stood up for that woman. And you saw that that one individual lied. And more evidence has come forth that he lied. But yet, you know what? He's been promoted. And Ms. Sandra Miranda sits in her corner being punished for saving the Department of Water and Power millions of dollars. Where's the awards for her? Why do we forget people like her? Just because she was a custodial individual? No, she was a great person. There have been great women in the history of the Bible and throughout. Ruth, Esther, Sandra Miranda was a great person, is a great person that worked for the city of Los Angeles. And the truth will come out. Whatever it takes, Mr. President, council member, the truth has to come forth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Duke Russell. After that is Zuma Dog.
Mr. President, members of the council, good morning. My name is Duke Russell. During the past 5 years, I have pleaded to the District Board of Trustees of the Community College District regarding land at LA City College. I come to you again regarding the misuse of land at that community college. It's unfair and it's very dangerous. Senator Obama said on Meet the Press, he is very worried about many young people standing on street corners with nothing to do. Nothing to do were his words. You each have a photo of where beautiful 75-year-old Snyder Field can be rebuilt for thousands of future graduates of the LAUSD high schools and the community. Why would anyone want to put two buildings on scarce public school land? Why would anyone want to do that? Why not put those buildings where the commercial golf driving range is? In the photo you can see the commercial golf range in the distance. That's where the buildings belong. That's common sense. That's justice. The trustees approved the golf driving range in 1998. They're not going to change it. I'm pleading to you to change it to help the young people of this city. Jackie Robinson played at LA City College in 1938 when he was playing for Pasadena Junior College. Two council members played football at LACC, Mr. LaBonge and Mr. Parks. I played there in baseball. It brings people, it brings blacks and Latinos and whites and others together in friendship. You want friendship in this city, you want understanding, rebuild that land, save it for the young people of this city.
Thank you,
There
Mr.
could be
Russell.
another riot.
Zuma Dog is our next speaker, and then Michael Carrion.
Yeah, nice to see everybody today. Some of you saw me for the first time. I got a haircut
and was walking around without my hat and glasses, y'all. But let's talk about a few things. The mayor, they had the LAUSD elections this week, and the mayor got the 2 school board members on there, so now he's got 4 out of 7. So Zuma Dog's here to say that Marlene Cantor will be voted out as school board president. Monica Garcia will be voted in. That's the first thing you're going to see. You can take that to the bank. You can put that in Vegas, y'all. Then they're going to come in and run all kinds of audits over LAUSD to try to cut back on all the waste. If your job title at LAUSD includes the terms duplicative or redundant, well, you should start updating your resume, y'all, because the mayor's going to punish everybody who was against him by firing your ass, y'all, because there's too much waste, y'all, and he's going to start with you. I'd like to thank City Council for Councilmember Parks, who put a motion to put an audit of all nonprofits like Zuma Dog has been asking for. Thank you so much for that. That'll certainly cut back on a lot of the shady fraud, waste, and abuse of the nonprofits of people who are sitting there with 2 big salaries, 2 nice cars, and just diverting it into ghost employees and all kinds of things and putting it into sunset clauses. The people don't get what they want, y'all. So hopefully Laura Chick will be looking into that. And I'd also like to thank something you've never heard Zuma Dog say ever. It's a day of first. Thank you, Councilmember Weiss, for putting in that EIR thing that's going to take it out of the shady developers and put it into the hands of the shady city, which is just, I'd rather have it in the hands of the shady city than the hands of shady developers if you're doing them environmental impacts, because who wants a developer to do an environmental impact and then it says, yeah, it's all basically just saying everything's good. So thank you for that. That'll come back on things. We got the LA River. Don't be fooled, y'all. Ed Reyes, you might call it the LA River. Zuma Dog calls it the Condorado River, y'all, because you forgot to mention there's high density housing all up and down that thing, y'all, but there's not enough infrastructure. There's not going to be enough water to fuel it all, and it's so shady, y'all, with all that high density. And I'd just like to say that we haven't even gotten started with the density, y'all. There's going to be so much density. We're going to have to be George Jetson to fly around the city. Stop the density, y'all!
Thank you. Michael Carrion is our next speaker. Is Michael Carrion here? Going once, going twice. Our last speaker is out in San Fernando Valley, Miriam Fogler.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, and good weekend. Hope we all have, it's going to be nice. I'm here because I wanted to finish up by saying that, since you want to take over the Board of Education, overlook their salaries and how their book work is doing, we need more looking over everybody here, more accountability. We need to have much better system to keep an eye on everything that we spend, everything that goes in, comes out. Everything needs to be accounted for, okay? That's including your salaries, because if you want them to be scrutinized, you need to be scrutinized by the public, and that Proposition H needs to be repealed. Now, if you want to keep the Ethics Commission, that's great, because that's what we need. God wants us to do that. Number 2, God wants you to do what's right, and that means to hold yourself accountable to the public and be very, very efficient for our government. And the city employees, they need the cost of livings. The thing is, if you want to make a lot of money, go out in the private enterprise. This is the government, okay? This is for the people, by the people, of the people, and this is only for the people. So if you be happy whatever you get. Yours is a public service, okay? And of course, the city workers, they're middle class people, okay? They're trying to make a living for their families, buying the homes, and the police officers, our fire department. They need decent wages. Okay, you guys have decent wages. You don't need no more cost of living increases. And so that means that H has to be repealed, R has to be repealed, because I don't know if there's got to be something done about R. I think it wasn't the way it was done, was not done right, needs to be repealed and redone right. And because, Tony, my representative, he said he doesn't know much about government. He needs to attend the Government 101 with you,
Thank you very much.
Eric.
We appreciate that, Ms. Fogler. That's our last speaker for today. If we can, I have a request by Mr. Cardenas to take a special one that is before us out of order. If I could ask the city attorney on the findings, please, to address that.
Thank you, Mr. President. Since the posting of today's agenda, the county has notified the city that the city may use $2 million in Prop A funds for the Bulk Creek Channel Ecosystem Project. Immediate action is required to authorize the Department of Recreation and Parks to submit the necessary application and related documents to the county by May 22nd. Council must first make findings pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2 before considering the substantive motion.
Does anybody wish to be heard on the findings? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Pursuant to Council Rule 23, that is now before us, and I recognize Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you, colleagues, for allowing us to expedite this item today. It regards the restoring of Bull Creek, the channel ecosystem, which runs right through the San Fernando Valley, and it's a $6.4 million project. We need to move quickly so that we could let the county know that we are ready to do our part so that they could consider and hopefully provide us with the $2 million from the county Proposition A funds. So with that, I would appreciate your support.
All right. Anybody else wishing to be heard on this? If not, let's go ahead and open the roll on Special 1. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
And that is approved. If there is no objection,
Forthwith?
we'll send that forthwith. All right. Back to next item, please.
Thank you.
Next are items called special by council.
Okay. Let's take the first one, item number 1, and recognize Mr. Parks for... We also have cards from the public. Mr. Parks, did you want to say something at the outset?
We could have the cards from the public first. And
Okay,
then I'll...
sure. We've got 4 cards on this item, starting with Zuma Dog.
Hold on a second, y'all. Yeah. Hold on, I got a phone call, but I got public comment. Hold on the phone right there. We got current item number 1. It's the presentation of the report by Budget and Finance. First of all, I would have liked to have heard the report before you call public comment. Why don't you let us hear the report? Maybe I'll say some things that'll be addressed. But anyway, I think that the mayor's budget, first of all, there's no money in there regarding parks. I'm not talking about council member parks. I'm talking about open space. How come there's no budget for the parks? You know, that's wrong right off the bat. Second of all, you're going to need way more money in that budget for lawsuits. You got all kinds of civil suits in various departments because there's not enough training and education, and people don't know how to treat people when they're working for the city, and they don't know how to treat constituents. So there's going to be a lot of lawsuit money in the millions and millions and millions and millions, and outside counsel to be hired and all kinds of things. So you need to increase some of that, y'all. Let's see, what else are some of the problems where there's not enough money in the city, y'all? Oh, I heard you weren't supposed to be raising the special event, you weren't supposed to be raising the trash collection fees for new cops till next year, but you're doing it early this year, I heard. Some of that maybe should have come out of here. And you got way too many big city projects, development projects with the CRA that's sucking all the money out of the city. And then there's not enough for the budget general fund. There's a lot of subsidies and tax breaks that are being given to the big billion-dollar developers. It's called corporate welfare, y'all. And then you don't got enough money for this budget. You got to make all kinds of revisions and all kinds of cuts. And I think it's lousy, the cuts that the mayor's made. And you need a lot. Anyway, let's see. Okay, hold on a second, okay? Somebody's talking in my left ear while I'm doing this. I can't do two
You could
things.
please give us public comment.
Okay, well, I'm giving public comment. How about the public comment is this? Stop wasting so much money with frivolous lawsuits. You're getting sued all the time. Why don't you put some training and education into the city? Look, we're going to have, I say we're going to have at least 50, 60, 70, up to 100 things from MacArthur Park lawsuits that's going to cost the city. We need training. We need education. When I came into this city hall, they didn't even know the Brown Act. I handed in a card with Zuma Dog. They said, I don't care about no Brown Act. They said all kinds of wrong things. Train people so you don't get sued.
Our next speaker is Lisa Payne.
Hi, my name is Lisa Payne. I'm with the Southern California Association of Nonprofit Housing. I'm also here representing Housing LA and the Prop H Steering Committee, including Century Housing and the LA Business Council. So on behalf of everybody, I wanted to thank the council and the mayor for fully funding the Housing Trust Fund in the past couple years at the $100 million level that it was established at. But would also like to express my disappointment that this year there's only $45 million allocated in the budget for the Housing Trust Fund. The past couple years, LAHD has done an excellent job of getting the money out, and developers have done an excellent job of getting the money into production and building some beautiful, affordable housing. We're finally starting down the road where we could make a dent in the housing crisis. And no one really wants to stop the building now, especially given the condo conversion issue that I know has come before you many times, and how many people are being pushed out because of out of rent control apartments. Providing affordable housing works. There's a federal study or a federal report that cities with supportive housing have seen reductions in the numbers of homeless on the streets, Portland has seen a 70% reduction in the number of homeless. Reductions in overcrowding is a little more difficult to measure, but I think you can extrapolate that investments in affordable family housing can also yield significant results. But if we're just going to year after year be cobbling together a budget, for affordable housing, we're never going to have that kind of significant investment, significant program that really can make a dent in the affordable housing crisis. So I think this shows the need for a dedicated permanent sources of funding that will grow over time and each year give us $100 million in the trust fund. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Payne. We'll next go to Van Nuys. Miriam Fogler is our next speaker.
Well, the reason why we have a shortfall housing is because you got the big Taj Mahals being built by the CRA, and I've been against that agency for the last 20 years. I used to go to North Hollywood. The PAC used to be disbanded over there. Now it's all rubber stamp. Of course, you renewed their project for another 40 years. So it's nothing new what you're doing with this is the biggest monstrosity is hiring developers through a private agency working with public money and then taking public land away like the Grand Avenue project's planning to do, taking thousands of parking spots away from the city and the county. And you know what's going to happen with the county courthouse. I would imagine that one that you had the other day was this lawsuit that you're taking county parking away. I don't know if that's the same one, but the County of Los Angeles will probably turn around and sue you and stop that Grand Avenue project because you're taking away their parking from the courthouse down there. You're just going to make that a deadbeat town down there. It's all the lawyers, everybody goes down there, and according to the federal building, I don't know what you're going to do. You're going to squeeze them all out with all these CRA monstrosities, and I don't know where you're going to get all the funds except you're squeezing the taxpayers so tight that now the person middle class can't even afford to buy a house because you people inflate the price with this agency here, and I guess it's happening all over the country. We need to take our country back and say this is your right to the pursuit of happiness and liberty, and the right to property, not the pursuit of happiness. The right to pursuit of property. Your right to have property, and you can look it up in England. In Europe, they didn't allow you to have property there for centuries, and that's why we came here, to have the right to own property without being taken away by your eminent domain. And that's all I'm going to say for today.
Okay, Candido Maris is our last speaker here.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to address again the Budget and Finance and thank Mr. Parks and Ms. Gruhl and Mr. Rosenthal, Mr. Smith, Mr. Weezar, because it's been a difficult year. This is probably one of our toughest years. I would just ask that the Consolidated Plan, and I would ask the mayor, we really need to go to the federal government and try to get some of our monies back. A lot of that money has gone because of the wars. But we have asked for an increase in our cap. We need that money to take care of those in our communities that are the neediest. So, again, I just want to thank you. It's been a long process. It's been a hard one. And just thank you for the hard work.
Thank you. That closes our public comment. And we return to Mr. Parks, who will be followed by Mr. Reyes. Mr. Parks will be our first speaker. While we're waiting, we'll turn to Mr. Reyes. Mr. Reyes?
Yes, we'd like to receive and file that. It's item 23.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We're on the number one, the budget report.
No, I'll pass.
A different one that you want to receive? Okay. I think that was called special for a card from the public. So we will get to that afterwards. I'd like to return back to our budget chair now, Mr. Parks.
Are we up? Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'd just like to set the stage. Monday, we're set to deal with the budget. As you know, it's taken several months of work from the mayor's office, CLA, CAO, then the budget committee sitting through and looking at each item of the budget. Just to give you a precursor, is that a $6.79 billion budget, roughly about $113 million more than last year. What we'd like to do on Monday is set in motion. What we've been successful over the last couple of years is that we realize we're at a point that any budgetary items that might be suggested via motions, concerns, we would hope that you realize you have to come with a corresponding motion to say where you want to unallocate those funds, because all money has been allocated even to the reserve fund. I think that the issue of the reserve is very important to us. We almost reached the goal of the council of just under 5%, but we also know there's some pending issues that could impact the long-term health and the short-term health of the city as far as potential litigation. So we would just ask that the format that we've used over the last several years, that we abide by that we try to get things that are important to you on motions into committee so we can respond back to them, but that we try not to use the process Monday or next week to just completely unravel the budget and start budgeting all over again. And so we hope that we have addressed many of your issues as you brought them to us. I think we hit somewhere in the neighborhood of 220 some odd memos that are available for you to be aware of on the questions that were asked, the responses that came back, that pretty well should address many of the issues as we walk through each line of the budget. And so I'd ask that we get ready for Monday and move forward on it, and hopefully, as you will see as you look through the documents, this may be the tightest budget we've had in the last 4 to 5 years because of the balancing out or the leveling out of our revenue, but yet in the same time trying to maintain our resources as to employees, but also making sure that we're touching many of those infrastructure issues of sidewalks, trees, alleys, things of that nature that are important to each and every one of our offices. So I would ask that we move forward for Monday. We have a little bit more in-depth opening remarks on Monday, but this is just presenting the budget, and hope we're all prepared to go through it and get ready for this annual exercise.
Thank you very much, Mr. Parks, and thank you to your leadership and the membership of the Council Committee who has worked very hard on this with the CLA and CAO. We will be taking this up again, colleagues. We do have a special meeting on Monday. We invite members of the public to that as well on Monday to take up this item. This is just being presented to us today, and it is available also online. You can go through our hyperlink, clicking on the agenda for Monday, and you can read the reports that are before us. Again, you can do that with all of our council files now, thanks to the good work of the city clerk's office. So if no one else wishes to be heard, is the action, Madam Clerk, to continue it till Monday? Or will we be... Are we continuing till Monday? Okay, without objection. All right, next item, please.
Next item is item number 14, and that's called Special by Cards from the Public.
Okay, item number 14. We'll go back out to Van Nuys, and Sharon Brewer is our first speaker.
Hi, this is special event fee waivers. The total on today's agenda is 16 special event items. There are 2 where the city will be reimbursed. There are 3 fees absorbed by the city, but no dollar amount. 11 fee waivers, total $48,468. When you go and you take Wednesday's fee waivers of approximately $283,548, and you add the $48,468 plus, you now have $332,014 that the city's waiving just in 2 days. Mr. Parks talks about the budget problems and having cuts, and you really need to look into the fee waivers. And again, I'm only speaking of the fee waivers where the city's not being reimbursed. I would also like to know, why are special event fee waivers voted on when a dollar amount is not disclosed? Farmers market waivers on 516 agenda went from $26,000 to $74,360. Why isn't it a requirement that before items are voted on by City Council, there has to be a dollar amount? So you could actually be adding on today's agenda another $75,000. So please take and look into these fee waivers. And again, I'm only addressing the ones that do not say that they are reimbursing the city, Mr. Garcetti. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brewer. Our next speaker is Zuma Dog here in council chambers, and then we'll go back to Van Nuys for Miriam Fogler.
Hey, it's great to see Miriam and Sharon in Van Nuys. It's great to see Van Nuys use City Hall by at least 2 people. And I'd like to talk right now about the special event fees. You've heard Zuma Dog talk about special event fee waivers for many, many months now. And I'd like to break it down. What happens is there's events throughout the city. It's supposed to be for nonprofit events, open for the public, that's free in the community best interest. Let's say you want to have, a little festival, a little street festival in your neighborhood. You can't pay for the cops. You can't pay for the trash removal. There's certain permits and fees. So they'll allow you to have that, and the city will pick up the costs. Now, what happens is everything ends up being shady when money's involved. These nonprofits, they are tax exempt companies. So what happens is some of them are shady. Some of them are shady because you have people on these nonprofits making high salaries, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000. You got them driving nice cars. You're buying all kinds of nice recreational vehicles. People who have husbands and wives sometimes sit on these nonprofit boards, and then money is funneled back into these nonprofits through the city hall. That's shady as hell. And it's very tough to talk because I got to talk like this, y'all, because there's so much.
Excuse me, Mr. Dog, if you could please keep your voice down. Thank you.
I'm very happy that these nonprofits are going to be put through. I want all of these nonprofits put through a Lord Chick audit, y'all. I want to know, where can I find this myself? I want a list of all the nonprofits that the money's given to the city. The city's giving money to all these. I want a list of all the nonprofits, y'all, because I'm going to run them through my back computer, y'all, and make sure that you people don't have husband and wives sitting on the nonprofits getting all these big chair budgets, y'all, and getting all these nice fancy cars, and it's tax exempt. And you got the Autry Museum that went from a foundation down to a nonprofit. Why would the Autrys go from a foundation down to a nonprofit, y'all? It's because you're getting ready to take a lot of grant money, y'all, and you don't want to pay taxes on it. You got a lot of museum assets you want to sell off, y'all. You got to watch these nonprofits, y'all. They're shady as hell, y'all. Zuma Dog for City Control.
Our next speaker is Miriam Fogler in Van Nuys. Ms. Fogler?
Next thing you want to tell us that you want to sell City Hall since you can't pay for it, but you have to pay for all these fees. I can't understand you people. You can't be efficient. What's wrong? I mean, I have to have a budget. We all have to live by that. Why can't you stop giving people free lunches and these waivers without, the people who making money at least, don't let them make any money off your fee waivers. I mean, it should come back to the city. We're paying for all this stuff, and you're talking about cutbacks, and you may even be threatening a hiring freeze and cutting back, laying off city workers. You can't do that. This is a middle-class America here. We're living here. You people are our servants, and you're not entitled to get more money than what the private executive out there. If you want to make that salary, you go out there and work out there, like I said earlier. I'm tired of seeing all these fees. Every single month I've been seeing it, and it's been building up in me, too, and I'm fed up. And it needs to be stopped. We're wasting a lot of taxpayers. This is kind of like a pork barrel, like it's from here all the way up to the Congress. It needs to be stopped. When is the public going to wake up and stop having them give away bridges for lease to pay off their debts? A 100-year lease to a foreign company to take care of the Chicago Bridge. What is this? What's going on here? And that young man that was here earlier serving in the Air Force, I'm so proud of you, and I thank you for serving our country. Don't give up, because there's people like me that appreciate you, and you have a right to live here. This is your country. You fought for it, and you would have died for this country. And believe you me, we have to stick together, because we got monsters out there that want us dead, and we need to spend our money right here, because we have to take care of our police and fire. We need the money here now, not having these fee waivers keep going on.
Thank you very much. That closes public comment for number 14. And if we can open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Next item is item number 3, called special by Councilmember Reyes.
Okay. Did we require a public hearing on that, or has that already been held?
That one requires a public hearing, and there also is a card.
Okay, we have 2 cards, actually. We'll start with Zuma Dog. You have 1 minute left, Mr. Dog, and then we'll go to Miriam Fogler out in the valley. And you have 1 minute left as well, Ms. Fogler. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, right now we're going to talk about, this is item number 23. I'm just going to read it because it's $500,000 that the city is going to be given for MacArthur Park band shell. Yeah, like that's the problem we're having in MacArthur Park. We need to restore the band shell for $500,000. That's the problem with MacArthur Park. So it says right here that oh no, I see the word Community Redevelopment Agency. That means something shady as hell because you got $500,000 that's going to be, it says reimbursed by the CRA. Getting money back from the CRA, that's worse than loaning money to Zoom It, dog, y'all. That's just a one-way black hole. We got hundreds of millions of dollars we always loan out to the CRA. I'd like to see the accounts receivable, y'all, because I don't think that money never comes back, y'all. So I say don't spend $500,000 to fix the pan shell in MacArthur Park until we do a lot more things to make that MacArthur Park a lot safer, y'all. And maybe you should put this $500,000 into training and re-educating of the police so they know not to attack media people with cameras, y'all.
Miriam Fogler is our next speaker in Van Nuys.
Well, like I said, the CRA's money should be all back in the Land Planning Use Committee, under the Land Use Department, the Planning Department, not them. They're a private agency. They should be away. I don't mind developers and development, and I don't mind the unions. They're all great because we need them for middle-class people. They keep so that the people can still live here, affordability between the rich and the poor. It seems that you're making the richer through the CRA, but giving all these developers that work in there, your special friends in there, and the CRA board. And here we can hire developers. The private enterprise can take care of itself. It doesn't need a semi-private public agency to do it. We don't need this big bureaucracy. It needs to be disbanded. It needs to go. It's far too long, and it now needs to be folded and gone. It needs to put the money back into our city budget.
That ends our public comment for this item. Mr. Reyes?
Thank you, Council President. It's rather anticlimactic. We're going to receive and file. We found a way to get the project done, and the band shell will be functioning in the very near future. So thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Reyes. So if there's no objection, let's open the roll on receiving and filing, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next order of business, please.
Mr. President, we have motions for posting and referral.
Those are posted and referred.
Mr. President, there are also excuses on the desk.
All right. Let's run through those.
Councilmember Gruhl requests to be excused on May 23rd to leave at 11 a.m. for city business. This meets council policy.
As it meets council policy, she will be excused.
Councilmember Labange requests to be excused on May 30th to arrive at 11:30 for city business. This meets council policy.
He will be excused.
Councilmember Weiss requests to be excused on June 12th to arrive at 11 a.m. for city business. This meets council policy.
He is excused.
Councilmember Parks requests to be excused on June 12th to leave at 11 a.m. for city business. This meets council policy.
He is excused.
Councilmember Gruhl requests to be excused on July 27th for city business. A motion is required.
I will move that, and Ms. Perry seconds. Without objection, that excuse is granted.
That clears the desk.
Okay, now it's time for announcements, colleagues. I wanted to start by announcing that our very own Dennis Zine was in Congress yesterday testifying on behalf of the National League of Cities on immigration reform, and we want to congratulate him for giving testimony in Washington, D.C. Thank you for that, Mr. Zine. And other announcements in the district and around the city. Ms. Hahn.
Mr. President, I just wanted to announce that as a continual celebration of the centennial anniversary of the Port of Los Angeles, they will be conducting free boat tours of the Port of Los Angeles for World Trade Week this Saturday and Sunday, May 19th and 20th, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come down to the port and learn about the importance of international trade in our economy and daily life. The 1-hour narrated boat tours depart from Portugal Village and San Pedro on Banning's Landing in Wilmington. Parking is free at both locations, and reservations are not required for the tours. Take a free ride on the red car when you're down there in San Pedro, and visit the nearby sites in San Pedro and Wilmington. Come on down for free boat tours in the beautiful harbor of the San Pedro Bay.
Thank you. And I know we've all been looking forward to World Trade Week since last year. We have a great World Trade Week. We're looking forward to that. Ms. Gruhl is next.
Okay, but
Thank you very much, Mr. Garcetti. And I know this is actually in Mr. Parks' district, but my husband's been involved, so I'm going to personal privileged with the Darfur Day, Observance Day on Sunday, and I know Mr. Garcetti and some of my other colleagues are going to be there as well, but it is Darfur Observance Day on Sunday at First AME Church at 4 o'clock. There is going to be presentations talking about what we can do as individuals. We have, as a city council, stood up and said that what is happening there is unacceptable and taken positions on divestiture. We hope that the world and this country will stand up and do the same. But this is a effort that is combined with the American Jewish Committee, the Jewish World Watch, First AME Church, and so many other groups that are supporting our efforts to let the world know what is happening there and to try to do what we can as individuals and organizations and municipalities. So that is this Sunday at 4 o'clock. This evening there is an event here in City Hall. Also, that is a art and I guess mostly of pictures and so forth from Darfur. And so we encourage everyone to participate and do what they can to stop the genocide. Thank you.
And Ms. Gruhl, before we move on, I think you have a Saturday event as well in your
I do have a Saturday event. I have a picnic in my district, my community picnic at Valley Plaza Park tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And I know I've invited all the council members, if they're in the neighborhood, to come by. And the Shadow Hills property owners has their pancake breakfast tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock at Tierra del Sol. So we encourage people to come there as well. It's a busy weekend in all of our districts.
Plenty of free food. Mr. Alacon, did you have an announcement? No. Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. A reminder that on this Sunday between 12 and 7, the cultural days will take place for our sister cities. Sister City Day at the Grove, adjacent to the Farmers Market. We'll have performances. It's a fun time. It's free. And please come and join us. We'll have a special salute to our Council Generals at 3 o'clock. That's this Sunday between 12 and 7 at the world-famous Grove, adjacent to the Farmers Market at 3rd and Fairfax.
Thank you very much, Mr. Labange. Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to just announce that the Council District 8 Youth Council Energy Fair will be held on May 26th, Saturday, from 9:30 to 11:30 at Jesse Brewer Park, corner of Exposition and Vermont. And also for those 8th District residents, the Reckon Park facility at Elgin Sutton and Mount Carmel Playground this Saturday opens up their annual baseball, softball opening day at the Elgin Sutton. It starts at 9. At Mount Carmel, it starts at 10.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. Several events happening in the district. I'd like to invite you all to the Sacred Heart of Jesus Fiesta in Lincoln Heights, intersection of Baldwin and Workman. It'll be Saturday and Sunday. We'll have rides and nice events for the community, and come on out and support our local schools. Second, Hope and Peace Park will be opening tomorrow. This is on the corner of 8th Street and Bonnie Bray. This is important in that in this particular corner there used to be an abandoned apartment that was a blight to the city, to the neighborhood, very dangerous for the kids. Now it's become a pocket park. We have basketball, we'll have a children's play area, a picnic area. This is for the kids. 2 blocks away from Westlake MacArthur, as you know, very high density area, a big plus. And I want to thank my colleagues, Council President Eric Garcetti, Councilman Bill Rosendahl, and joining me, the mayor and others in the march yesterday. It was a peaceful march, as you well heard. It demonstrated what democracy can do, and it spoke to the harmony that does exist in our district, in our city, and essentially the compatibility and the partnership we have with our men and women in blue, the Los Angeles Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reyes, and congratulations on your work in getting that done as well. Lastly, colleagues, just a note for yourselves and for general public, we will be meeting on Monday at 10 a.m. Council members work 7 days a week, but we meet here formally 3 days a week, except some weeks in which we add a day or two, and that will include this coming week. On Monday, we will be meeting again to discuss the 2007-2008 fiscal year budget. That will begin here in Council Chambers at 10 a.m. promptly. So remember to be here at 10 a.m. or a few minutes before so we can begin that. Any other announcements? Do we have any adjourning motions today? If I can please ask everybody to rise in Council Chambers for our adjourning motions. Thank you. Ms. Gruhl.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The city family suffered a loss this week. The Office of Finance mourns the loss of one of its employees, Derwin Cameron Cox. He passed away on Wednesday, May 16th. He began his career in the city of Los Angeles on September 29, 1980, with the supply unit of General Services as a clerk typist. While with General Services, Derwin maintained the Material Management Information System, the MMS system, and subsequently he was promoted to city clerk, which has now become the Office of Finance, that portion, as a senior clerk typist in 1982. He provided public counter assistance to our taxpayers on business-related tax matters. And in 1985, Derwin became a tax and permit field representative and was responsible for ensuring businesses throughout the city were current with their respective tax liabilities. On July 1st, 1989, he was promoted to Representative 2 and assigned to the Special Investigations Unit. He trained new employees and served as an assistant to the supervisor. He was also, during the 90s, a vital part of the resource planning and management section and ensuring that many projects were successfully completed. And he became the Tax Discovery Program liaison, where he monitored the vendor to ensure contract compliance. He worked during the last 10 years amongst many offices and units within the Office of Finance. During his 26 years with the city, he ascended to higher levels of responsibility while providing service to the community and our constituents. He is survived by his wife Lori, his son Christopher, his 3 daughters Nicole, Nichelle, Daniette, and his brother Mario, and I know mourned by so many of our members of the Office of Finance and our city family. And I'd ask that all members.
Thank you to all members. Any other adjourning motions, colleagues? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. This meeting of the Los Angeles City Council is adjourned, and we will next be in session at 10 a.m. on Monday, this coming Monday. We look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you.